Hi everyone. So in the last video, we explained credit cards and interest rate and just to go over my notes here, an overdue balance and grace period, right? And then if you remember the second page, the backside of that credit card note, there was questions 1 to 12 dealing with looking at an actual credit card statement. So here I've zoomed in just to zoom out here. This is what a credit card statement would look like basically. So I'm just going to zoom in, and even if it gets sent to you by email, when you bring it up, or if you go online to, royalbank.com and click on your account and then click on your credit card, this is how it pretty much would come up. So I'm just zooming in. Let's take just a brief look through it before we go through what those questions are. Excuse me. So at the beginning, obviously, it says what bank it's from. So is this credit card from Royal Bank, TD, CIBC, Scotiabank? There's all kinds of different banks out there, right? Some perks or things that they have, some information they want to tell you might be in this top right side. You see save 20% using the Royal Bank Visa card towards select purchases. And then here it tells you what type of Visa card you have, or there's MasterCard too, right? So just like I said, there's different ones. There's, so it could be called Visa Air Miles, which gives you turns your points into air miles. It could be Visa Travel Card, right? So this particular credit card is called Classic, which sounds like kind of just your basic credit card, right? It probably doesn't have points for travel or anything like that. This would be your name, John Sample, John Samplia, and this would be the credit card number. So it's 4 digits, then 4, then 4, and then 4, so 16 altogether. And then this tells you the time frame of this statement. So this statement is from March 26th to April 23rd. So anything made, any purchases you made on it March 26th and up to and including April 23rd would be on this credit card statement. And see how it says activity here? So what happened was April 15th, you made an automatic payment. So whether it was at a bank machine or online of $211. So you took that out of your bank account and paid your credit card off. And then April 23rd, you were charged purchase interest, which is just interest. So you were charged interest, see, of $100.92, money you're throwing out the window. So why are you charged interest? We'll have to look here. It must mean that you didn't pay your balance off in full, right? So anytime you don't pay your balance in full, so anytime you're buying something, if you're not going to be able to pay it back in 3 weeks or so, then you will be charged interest. And whatever you bought is now getting more expensive. So if you bought something again for $200, now that item is kind of like, technically think of it as being $300, right? Activity this period 0 means for the last month, or from this date, March 26th to April 23rd, you actually didn't charge anything else on your card. You actually didn't purchase anything else. And here it says your account is set up on an automatic payment plan. So the new balance shown on the statement will be paid in full or in part according to the automatic payment plan that you selected already. So what happens is, what is his name? John Sample. So John already set up that, hey, every month at least take out the minimum payment out of my credit card, out of my checking account directly, so I don't ever miss that payment. Or maybe he has set up, hey, every month take $200 out. Or some people might have, hey, every month take the whole full balance, right, and pay off my full balance every month. So you can set that up so that you don't run into any problems with paying. But then the other problem is now in your checking account, you have to make sure that the money's there, right? And this is also with our exclusive Royal Bank Visa Talk and Save Long Distance program. So again, it might be advertising something to you here. It might be saying information to you like, hey, at the end of this month, your interest rate is going to go up. So first, let's look at the right-hand side before I go down to the bottom. So this was what we already talked about before. Information, important information, contact us. If you have a question, why am I charged this much interest? Or I made a second payment, how come it's not showing up? Or whatever the case is, there's your phone number, 2 phone numbers to call. Now here's the payment information. Minimum payment is $0. And the reason why it's $0, I'm thinking, is because you didn't purchase anything this month, because you didn't make any new purchases. But really, to be honest, I'm thinking every credit card company is still going to charge you, because there's a balance on the card, they're still going to be charging you a minimum payment. So I don't think that would be too likely. Your payment due date, so see, it came out till April 23rd. It probably doesn't get sent to you till like a week after that. So we're talking the beginning of May, you would get this statement. So the beginning of May, and then it's due May 14th. So you can see there's 2 weeks there, plus technically a week when the statement was done, is roughly that 3-week timeline I was talking about. So you have to pay at least the minimum payment by May 14th. So your credit limit means how much money total you're allowed to spend on your card is $2,500. That doesn't mean that you have $2,500 that you have to pay for on your card. That means that you have kind of like a loan. The loan amount is up to $2,500. Available credit, you still have $2,010 available. So how much money have you actually used? How much of the loan have you actually borrowed? Is this $490? So 490, almost 500, right? Plus 2010, 2000 would equal my $2,500 total available credit. My interest rate is 18.5%. Again, purchases this month was 0. Cash advances I didn't talk about in the last video. So a cash advance is you can go to a bank machine, and instead of putting in your debit card in the bank machine, you can put your credit card in the bank machine. And when you put your credit card in the bank machine, so you've got up to $2,500 in a loan, right? You can say, oh, give me $500. So this is different, and this is where you need to pay attention. If you go to the bank machine and put your credit card in and take $500 out, you are charged interest automatically right away from that second that the money comes out of the bank machine. You don't have a 3-week grace period. You don't have a month where your bill comes in and says, please pay this amount. And then when you pay that amount, you don't pay interest. And it doesn't really look good for your credit, because it's kind of telling the banks when you're looking to get a car loan or mortgage or anything, another credit card in the future, whatever, a loan for your business, right? If you're wanting to run your own business or something, you don't want to screw yourself over from a credit card, from having those opportunities in life. It kind of tells the bank that, hey, I don't have any other way to get money. I don't have any money in my bank account. I don't have any money saved in the bank to dip into my savings. I'm having to go to a bank machine and take money directly out of my credit card, which just doesn't look good altogether. So my suggestion, just like when I worked at the bank and I would tell people that came in, was don't do that. Like, if you can, don't ever do that. And whenever you do take money out directly from your credit card out of the ATM, you're charged this 18.5% interest right away. Okay. In the last month, payments and credits is 0, which I don't really know why it says that, since there's a payment there. Maybe it means, yeah, I don't know, because that's within this time frame. So to be honest, I think it should be written there. But interest is nothing, fees are nothing, activity this period is nothing. So you did have a balance owing from before of $490. You haven't made any payments, so you still owe $490 is what that's saying. And then down here again, what type of visa you have, your Visa card number, minimum payment, the payment due date, and the new balance. And then you write down here how much you're going to pay. And here's payment options. Telephone banking, online banking, at the ATM, you can pay it, go into a branch and pay it with a teller, or you can actually send this away with like a check by mail. So if we go back to that sheet from yesterday, the worksheet, the 12 questions there on the back. Number 1, what is the date of the statement? So usually they do have an actual date of the statement, but like just one particular date of when it was printed. But we can say that the statement date was from March 26th to April 23rd. What is the annual interest rate? Your annual interest rate is 18.5%. I'm on number 2. Number 3, what is the new balance? $490. So this is just making sure you know where to find these things on your statement. You're going to be looking at this every month, right? So this is definitely math that you will use in the future. Number 4, what was the previous balance? So the previous balance was also $490 because it's saying here that you haven't made any payments, which again, I don't quite understand why because it shows one there. How many charges were made during this billing cycle? So charges, purchases and debits, 0. Activity period, 0. You haven't made any charges this billing cycle. How many credits and payments were made during this billing cycle? That would show up here. So there has been 1 payment made here during the billing cycle. Number 7, were there any charges for late payments? If so, how much were the charges? Here is interest and fees is 0. So if there was a charge or extra interest you were paying, that would show up here under interest and fees. So I would say nothing. What is the total amount of the credit line? Like a loan is $2,500. That's your credit card limit, we call it. And what is the total amount still available? $2,010 is the available credit. Number 10, what is the total amount of charges made during the current billing period? What did you charge on your credit card? Current charges were nothing, right, for this month. New charges here, purchases and debits were nothing. Number 11, what is the account number? Is here, again, it's 16 numbers long in groups of 4. Where should the payment be sent? So payment options are down here, how you can pay it. More than likely, I would assume at your age with this technology, you would just be adding the bill online with whatever bank you have with your checking account, and you would just set it up as a bill payment and pay it that way. So there is also, I will post on D2L, here is a second example of a credit card, right? So this is a different type of card. Someone else's, there's no name here on this one. There's more information on this one. I want you to answer the same 12 questions looking at this credit card statement where you're doing it by yourself so that you can see that you're understanding where to get the information from. And there is also this worksheet that we're going to be looking at as well. So credit card problem sheet. So just like the last lesson where we did examples of figuring out the daily interest rate. So how much would they pay if they were paying interest for 55 days? Use that last example 3 from the last video to do 1 and 2. Number 3 is doing the same thing, but doing it online. Remember, using a calculator online. And then continue on with questions 4 to 7 from this worksheet. And you can look ahead if you would like, but for now, just do 1 to 7 and the answers are right there so you can make sure that you're okay.